So I just played Sonic and Shadow Kissing Simulator, and I thought it was quite bad, actually. You occasionally press the A button on your controller, and all it does is play this GIF on loop for like 10 hours. I don't even know if there's a way to actually beat this game. I was very disappointed and quite upset, so I'm giving it a D rank because it is dog shit. I also played Sonic X Shadow Generations, which, based on the name, I thought was also going to have a bit of smoochy, hanky-panky time between the blokes in the title, but to my surprise, it did not. Let's get the one I don't have much to say about out of the way first. Sonic Generations is just as great now as it was back in 2011. Excellent level design, fun bosses, sublime soundtrack, fantastic controls. Come on, you already know it's a good game. You don't need me to tell you this. The only notable talking point with this remaster is that the drop dash is here. It's fun to use as classic Sonic, not so much modern Sonic. I don't recommend using it as him, it completely kills your momentum and is not very useful at all. Oh yeah, and Sonic Team kind of pulled a George Lucas. If you haven't heard, the dialogue for Sonic Generations has almost been completely rewritten, and as a result, all of the voice lines have been redubbed, along with a few visual changes to the cutscenes. And just like Lucas's edits to his films, all of these changes feel pretty unnecessary. They don't really add anything to the game, nor do they improve on its already very basic narrative, which is a little disappointing. I was hoping they'd add a few more cutscenes where the Sonics and Tails comment on each stage they've just beaten like they do with Green Hill or Chemical Plant at the beginning, but what can you do? End of the day, Sonic Generations is still one of the best entries in the series, even with its lackluster story. So if you somehow never played it before, why? It's fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A rank and a big ol' musty chili dog vodka cocktail.
What the fuck is that?
Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'll just dive straight into what you all want to know. Is Shadow Generations a good game? More to the point, is it as good as Sonic Generations? No. I hate to break it to you all, but I think it's even better. And I'm not the only one who thinks so either. This game has been getting 8s and 9s across the board, which is very surreal. I'm pretty sure the last time a 3D Sonic game managed to get these kinds of scores was back in 2011 when Generations originally came out. It's so good that there are folks who think it's the best 3D Sonic game. Hell, Mr. Lag thinks it's the best Sonic game ever made. Now I don't know if I'd go that far myself, but I will say, the level design of each zone's first act is a fucking knockout. And just a heads up, I'm going to be jumping into spoiler territory now and showing off a lot of gameplay that's from later in the game, so if you haven't played it yet and don't want any of the really cool shit spoilt for you, then you should probably come back later. Every single one of them is huge, littered with tons of alternate pathways to find and travel along, not to mention the insane number of shortcuts that you can use to speedrun them. And even if you're not using the boost to rush through them as fast as you can, the platforming challenges and collectibles that take advantage of Shadow's chaos control and Doom powers still make them an absolute joy to play through. These are, without a doubt, some of the best levels to play in any Sonic game, right up there with Sonic 3 and Adventure 1, and that's impressive, because 2 of these levels are ones I absolutely hated in their original games. Sunset Heights Act 1 is the best thing to have ever come out of Sonic Forces. The whole location has been dialed up to 11 here, and it is nothing short of fantastic. And Chaos Island, good god, I hated it in Frontiers, but it is easily one of my favourite stages in this game with how tense it feels to try and skip whole sections using the Doom powers, with the sense of reward coming from succeeding feeling so good. You know what's even more impressive than making those 2 levels enjoyable? They actually made really good 2D stages too, which is something I never expected to say. If you know me, you know I really don't like it when 3D Sonic games have 2D sections. They just haven't had the sauce since the original Generations. I mean, tell me honestly, which one looks more fun to play? This? Or this? Well, Shadow Generations took this and cranked it up a gear. Seriously, these stages have no right being as fun and well crafted as they are. If Sonic Team is going to be adamant about having 2D stages in their 3D games for some reason, then you know what? I'll be more than okay with it provided they're on this level of quality, or better yet, surpassing that level. Remember a minute ago when I said the level design of Shadow Generations was a knockout? Yeah, they knocked the bosses out of the park too. The Biolizard fight is a massive improvement over the original in SA2 and in Sonic Gen's 3DS. It takes what I honestly thought was a pretty underwhelming boss and expands upon it with new phases and abilities. You can't ask for much more than that. We also get a battle with Metal Overlord. This is very different from the original in Sonic Heroes, but still keeps its spirit. Instead of chasing after him in the skies, you surf after him, which I honestly think is 1,000 times cooler. I'm convinced more Sonic games should have water chases now. I also really like that Metal isn't affected by Chaos Control. That's a very neat bit of continuity with Heroes that I appreciate. Crush 40's best song plays by default too, which makes this not only the best boss fight in Shadow Generations, but also Sonic Huh? Oh shit, yeah, sorry, I lied to you all. The bitch fight with Mercedes-Benz is actually the best one. I don't think I even need to explain myself with this, it's peak. Equally peak is the White Space Hub World / Open Zone, which, like in Sonic Frontiers, is a big platforming playground where you can complete a variety of little challenges to locate secrets and access new areas. It adds some variety from the game's main levels, and I really enjoyed exploring the whole map to find every little nook and cranny, which would always reward me with rings, an item box to fill up the Chaos meter, or one of these rocket parts. We'll get back to that in a minute. White Space isn't very big. I think it's half the size of Kronos Island, possibly even smaller, which I'm 99% sure is why there's none of the distracting pop-in from before. But I'm honestly okay with that because of how well the whole place is designed. You're always near some sort of challenge or collectible no matter where you are on the map, even on these little floating islands in the sky. It's simultaneously compact and spacious, if that makes any sense. There isn't just an open area for the sake of having an open area to run around in. The Doom Moon overlooking the whole area is very imposing, especially when you realise that its eyes follow you wherever you go. It's a great detail that makes the world feel alive. Another thing I appreciate is having characters to talk to in the open zone, something I really wish Frontiers did beside having just one friend on each island. Omega, Rouge, Gerald and Maria, they're all here, and so is God. What the fuck? How did you get here? Why are you doing this godly bullshit again, man? Oh, he's so happy to see him! They've all got different things to say, ranging from Omega believing Shadow can turn his arm into a gun, which is very funny and a nice little nod to his original solo game. Big dropping some deep lore about how his godlike powers allow him to understand what Froggy thinks and feels, or Gerald explaining stuff that should have been told to us in cutscenes rather than optional dialogue boxes. I'm sorry, folks, but I've been nice for too long. I'm now gonna have to be a little bit mean, and complain about a few minor things that annoyed me while playing. Firstly, I really wish there were more cutscene interactions between Shadow, Maria, and Gerald, because they don't properly show up until about halfway through the story, which is very surprising to me. I didn't feel that much of an emotional connection to the two of them by the end, because there really wasn't much time to make one, which is a shame, because Ian Flynn writes them both so well. I think if they were both in White Space with Shadow right from the start, taking Omega's place outside of the arc level, that probably would have allowed for more time where they could interact and really get us to care about them, so that when they're sent back, we feel those same emotions as Shadow. I will say that besides that, the story is really good. Black Doom coming back and trying to make Shadow even stronger purely so that he could possess him is a very cool idea that Flynn executes brilliantly. He cooked with this. My only complaint is that it's pretty short. The whole game is, in fact. I knew that would be the case going in, but I beat this thing in about 3.5 hours, and that isn't much longer than Force's. At most, I wish there was one more level, and I'm pretty shocked there isn't, considering that Shadow the Hedgehog, you know, the main character's original solo game, doesn't get a stage to represent it at all. And no, the arc doesn't count, shut up. It would have been really cool to have seen Glyphic Canyon, Circus Park, Cryptic Castle, and especially The Last Way get remade and reimagined, maybe even incorporating the guns or vehicles somehow. But thinking about it, quality over quantity, I'll take 12 phenomenal levels over 30 shit ones. Now, my biggest issue with the game is these rocket parts. You can find them scattered around White Space and bring them back to Orbot and Cubot, who want to use them to repair a rocket so that they can go back home. The game doesn't tell you where to find them, and that is absolutely fine. As someone who loves platformers and collectathons, this gives me an incentive to explore the whole area and potentially be rewarded with something cool, or finding new things I didn't know about before. So that's exactly what I did. I want to say that I spent roughly another 2, maybe 3 hours exploring White Space trying to find all of them, and god damn, they were so well hidden that I was convinced they only spawned a certain number of parts for you to collect, and for more to appear, you had to give what you had over to Orbot and Cubot. I'm almost certain that's not the case now, but regardless, I finally managed to do it, and...
Excellent. Yep. That's it?
I didn't like this. This was a dick move. Sonic Team, never do this again or I'll... chuck a rocket at you. But in conclusion, holy shit, Shadow Generations is a phenomenal game. No ifs or buts or step in the right directions this time, it's a masterpiece. I really hope that everyone involved is going to be working on the next major 3D Sonic game, because the talent, skill and passion that they all have is nothing short of incredible. This is a near flawless entry in the series, and when one of my main complaints is that there isn't more of it, you know you've done something right. You won't be surprised to hear that I'm giving it an S rank. I don't think I can recommend this game enough. 45 quid is a steal when it's bundled with another amazing game like Sonic Generations. Absolutely worth every penny. Before I go, I just wanted to let you all know that I'm very sorry for disappearing for 5 months. It's probably going to happen again soon. Fortunately, I've got quite a few videos that are almost finished, and I'm hoping to start uploading those on a regular bi-weekly basis once I wake up again. Okay, bye, stop watching, go and play Shadow Generations now.